Hey Bookaholics, and welcome back to another reading vlog. In this vlog, I am going to be reading some more Spookoplathon rolls. I thought I would vlog my Spookoplathon just because then I can also keep track in my mind what I rolled, why I rolled it, etc. I am hoping that I can do an entire weekend worth of it. I don't know how many books that's going to amount to, but I am looking forward to getting into some more spooky reads. So I'm not used to filming non-chronologically, but I know that I have potentially done more glammed up intro before. But right off of the back of previous vlog, which I will leave linked in case you're interested, we're starting another Spookoplathon vlog. I am going to go and roll. I have so far had a double, but that was when I was doing a 24-hour readathon and I wasn't counting doubles for anything because it's a 24-hour readathon. But same prelude as before. Any rolls that roll a double, I'm going to combine 2 prompts. So other than that, no further rules. Let's get into the rolls. All right, roll number 7. We landed on They're Burning All the Witches Even If You Aren't One. So let's roll. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Feed scroll. This is not going to work very well for me because I own very weird books. So let's see how this goes. So I got feed scroll. Now feed scroll's a weird one for me because I have a lot of books that I don't think I see as much on Instagram. So it was hard to find. I went through Goodreads first and then I went through Instagram, and I really was struggling to find something. And then in the end on Instagram, someone had posted a picture of Terry Pratchett's Guards. Now I know Discworld can be read independently, and I know that technically therefore I could read Guards, but I am reading them in publication order and I have no intention of changing that just for a readathon. But I think I have seen Becca do it before, where for example if the first book in a series has come up and she needs to continue reading that series, if nothing else is coming up then she'll choose that. I can't see anything else coming up that I own that I could read. So I'm going to just continue with Discworld, which means I'm reading the second book, which is The Light Fantastic, and I am happy with that. And I know it's bending the rules a little bit, but I'm not going to change how I want to approach this series just for a prompt. Like, I am happy to bend rules so that my reading is the reading that I want it to be. I'm not the kind of person that is going to go punish themselves or force themselves to read something they don't want to read, or in this case change how I am approaching reading a 42 book series just for a readathon. And they are short, but I'm also not going to force myself to read. How many books would I need to read? 2, maybe 3 more books before I could get to the one that came up. Like, I'm not going to do either of those things. So I'm just going to take it as read the next Discworld book, because a Discworld book came up in pictures, and that is this one, which is The Light Fantastic. And this one says, as it moves towards a seemingly inevitable collision with a malevolent red star, the Discworld has only one possible savior. Unfortunately, this happens to be the singularly inept and cowardly wizard called Rincewind, who was last seen falling off the edge of the world. The funniest and most unorthodox fantasy in this or any other galaxy. I really enjoyed the first book. I had a really good time with it. I look forward to reading the rest because I know that a lot of people deem the first book, which is The Colour of Magic, to be the worst one in the series. And I was talking to my sister-in-law because she's read quite a few of these, and she said that you can definitely see the progress, which is another reason why I want to read them in order. I guess I'm continuing Discworld. Let's do. Hey vlog, for some reason I never feel confident in whatever angle I choose when I'm filming in my living room instead of in my reading room. But I can't be bothered to go upstairs, so here we are. I have now finished The Light Fantastic by Terry Pratchett, which I actually for some reason liked less than The Colour of Magic. I think maybe because I knew that people didn't like The Colour of Magic. It tends to be a lot of people's least favorite Discworld book. I was pleasantly surprised because I went in kind of thinking, okay, get this read
and then continue. And I think I was expecting this one to be of the same standard as The Color of Magic, again, because I've heard so many people say that they don't love The Color of Magic, only for this one to, in my opinion, be a step down from The Color of Magic. So this is what the caliber I expected The Color of Magic to be. But again, maybe because I went in with slightly different expectations, because I've heard so many people talk about, people generally say that his first works are not the best, but the one I have heard the most critique of is The Color of Magic, is book 1. So then I kind of assume that this one, okay, so it's like, you know, after that it's like steady, small baby steps of progress for each book. So then when this one actually to me felt like I liked it less, I enjoyed it less, it took me longer to get into. It took me 2 days to read this book, so it's not like it took me ages, but at the same time, this book isn't even 300 pages. It's like 250 pages or something. It's so dinky for me to have taken 2 whole days to read it, especially when today I've literally just sat here all day doing nothing. It's now 20 past 10. I've been reading for 2.5 hours, and I had already started this on Thursday, so yesterday, and it just doesn't live up to expectations. It just didn't do anything for me. It's not a bad book, it's just not a good one in my opinion. Like, none of it landed. I didn't care about anyone, I didn't care about what's happening. The Discworld is really interesting, don't get me wrong, the setup's really cool. I like Terry Pratchett's humor, I like his narrative voice. I just didn't care about this one at all, so that's a bit foreboding. But again, I know that everyone says that the first like 4 or 5 are definitely the roughest, and then I think it's actually, maybe it's Mort is where it really kicks into gear, because I've heard a lot of people's favorite is Mort, which I think is book 4. So I only have Equal Rights left to read of the ones that are potentially a slog. But again, Equal Rights is one of the Witches books, and I've heard really good things about the Witches books. So I don't actually know which are supposedly the bad books. Like, maybe they literally, when they say the first few books, they literally mean The Color of Magic and The Light Fantastic. I don't know, because Equal Rights is a Witches book and everyone loves the Witches books. And then I've heard a lot of good things about Mort, which is book 4. So I don't know which one's the supposed bad books. But yes, this one, it wasn't great. I was bored. I didn't want to really be reading it. So do with that what you will. Therefore, I am done with this one. So I'm going to go take you upstairs and we're going to go roll for my next read.
All right, so we had Feed Scroll. Let's give it a roll. Oh, we've got a double. So we've got to go 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is Stabby. So my camera battery died before that roll, so we're still on Stabby. Let's go. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dice roll roulette. All right, I'm going to roll the dice and then see what kind of book I need here. 6.
And
right.
We got Stabby, but we got a double, so then we got Dice Roll Roulette. Because I had to roll again for Dice Roll Roulette, I did get 2 3s, but I'm not counting that as a double because it was for the dice roll. So, the only one I could really find that would work for this is I'm reading the next In Death book by J.D. Robb. These were gifted to me by my friend at work, and they're just really light, really easy to get through, fun reads. They are murder mysteries set in like futuristic America. We're following a detective. She has like a billionaire boyfriend, her friends, and yeah, like it's literally it's a murder mystery. That's exactly what it is. So there is going to be a death at the start of this book because that's how these books roll, and this one will be no different, and therefore it worked for Stabby. I mean, I don't think it'll actually be Stabby, but Becca said that thrillers work, and this is a thriller. And then it fits because 6 is a book between 275 and 325 pages. This one, if we don't count the excerpt bit for the next book at the end, 310 pages, because then you just have the excerpt from the next book. So this book is 310 pages, which works perfectly. I'm really working my way through my like long series that I have on my shelves. I have like the shelves up here, you can't see. I have like a Discworld shelf, and then I have a load of in-depth books up there as well. So it turns out that this vlog is just work your way through those series that you procrastinate on, essentially. So, I mean, I'm not expecting this to be more than 3 stars. They're just fun palette cleansers. I normally use them if I'm in like a reading slump. I don't even normally talk about them on the channel. I don't even think I've been putting them on my Goodreads or anything. It's just literally like, I am brain dead. I don't want to be reading epic fantasy right now. I don't want to start a standalone because a lot of my standalones are more literary. So then I just pick up one of these because they're really easy to get into and I could normally read them in like a day, maybe a day and a half. So because I'm still sick and I now have a migraine, yesterday I had a migraine with kaleidoscopes in my vision, which was fun. I had to walk down some stairs for one of my classes that I was teaching to the staff room with kaleidoscopes in my vision, which was absolutely terrifying. That's a new symptom for me. It's not one I've had before. I have had weird stuff going with my eyes. I've had tunnel vision and then I've lost my peripheral vision or I've lost my depth perception. That one was a new symptom for me, which was fun. And yeah, so migraines have been a lot of fun. And it's weird because I only ever get migraines this severe when I'm at work. So I am 100% sure that they are stress related. And you know, having to strain my voice, because the kids in the school I work in, it's not a good teaching environment. It's not a conductive teaching environment. So I think it is definitely stress related, because whenever I do any kind of work over the summer, like I did some admin work over the summer and it wasn't happening. So do with that what you will. So I have stress related migraines. It's also directly linked to my menses. So I am like, I have no end in sight now to these migraines because the stress of my job is the stress of my job. That's my job. So I don't know. I'm not gonna be able to read digital books for a while. It's weird. I can work on screens. Like screens don't seem to mess with me. Like I can edit the videos, no problem. But reading on screens, and again, like not reading emails, not reading like spreadsheets. Like I do my call pile all the time. Like I've kept my call pile up to date. But reading on screens, I can write on screens. I can type till kingdom come. But just chilling and reading a book on a screen at the minute is a struggle for some reason. I think it might also just be me being a bit like, okay, all the stuff that has to be done on screens, do on screens. But because I can read books physically, it's also just not a priority. So I don't know. That was a random ramble. I'm very sorry. But yes, anyway, this will be a nice little palette cleanser. It'll be a nice relaxing time. So I'm going to go do that. I am back. I am wet because I am showered and I am red. I have finished Ceremony and Death. It's early afternoon and it is done. I have spent literally all morning. I've done a bit of cleaning, I've had a shower, and I've read, and it's literally all I have done all morning. So there's that. I have been sitting with the Demonology ASMR from Aurelium, which is made by G over at Book Roast. I'll leave that linked. Fantastic for spooky season, just for anyone who wants it. And yeah, it's been a good time. Again, it's a palette cleanser book, but I didn't need my palette cleansing. So it's a little bit slightly like having a charcuterie board, but all you have on it is Emmental. You know, it's like, all right then. So like, it was a good time. These books are a good time. It was fun. I like some of the things they touch upon, but they're not like, oh my god, this was such a good read. And the thing is, I've had 2 palette cleanser books. Like I literally have these books on the shelves to be palette cleansers. So I've had 2 palette cleanser books with 0 need for my palette to be cleansed. So hopefully the next roll means that I will actually get something that I want to be reading. Not that I don't want to be reading these, but like I said, the thing is that normally they're great for when I've been a bit bogged down by like denser fantasy or historical fiction or whatever. I haven't been. On to the next roll, I suppose.
So we ended on dice roll roulette. Let's see where we go next. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What a ghostly scene. I need a ghosty book. All right, then let's do
this. This one was a random charity book haul. However, it does have ghosts in the title. So I was just about to put this on my currently reading on Goodreads and I found out that it's a sequel. Yay! So I need to go and pick up the first book before I pick this one up, which I don't own. So this one is not happening. So this one's happening. I have The Lamplighters by Emma Stonex. This one, it doesn't mention ghosts on the back, but in several of the reviews, it does say it's a ghost story. So we have Cornwall, 1972. 3 keepers vanish from a remote lighthouse miles from the shore. The entrance door is locked from the inside. The clocks have stopped. The table is set for a meal left uneaten. What happened to those 3 men out on the tower? Can their secrets ever be recovered from the waves? 20 years later, a writer approaches the women they left behind, determined to solve the puzzle. Helen, Jenny, and Michelle should have been united by the tragedy. Instead, it drove them apart. But only in confronting their darkest fears can the truth begin to surface. Which again, no mention of ghosts, but the first review is a mystery, a love story, and a ghost story all at once. I'm hoping that this somehow applies. I'm going to read it anyway. And yeah, so we're redirecting the prompt. I mean, it says from the author of The Mesmerist on the front here, but it doesn't say sequel anywhere on the book. So I need to get The Mesmerist before I can read The Circus of Ghosts. But we can start the Lamplighters. Hey gang, it's Saturday afternoon and I thought I'd check in because I have finished The Lamplighters by Emma Stonex. I enjoyed this one. It's a literary fiction with a kind of mystery style plotline where we have 3 men who disappeared from a lighthouse in the 1970s, and it was mysterious because the door to the lighthouse was closed from the inside and the table was laid for 2 people and everything around that, all the clocks were stopped at a certain time, and it has this kind of ominous feel to it. It's not just missing people. And then we're following the women in their lives in the 1990s. So 20 years on, an author wants to write the story and he's consulting the women in the lives of these 3 men. And it's a well-written story. I like the writing style. It has an almost mixed media feel to it at times where you have like newspaper articles, interviews, etc. And then also we have the way the actual prose is told is very stream of consciousness, which I enjoyed as well. So it's a good writing style. It's an interesting story. I enjoyed the conclusion. I enjoyed the way the kind of mystery solved, which a lot of the time I find very annoying with murder mysteries. I think that it did conclude well and that it had a satisfying ending. I enjoyed it for the most part. So well-written story, good prose, interesting conclusion. Overall, a decent read. I think I haven't put through Corpal yet, but I imagine it's going to come out at somewhere between 3 and 3.5. But that does mean that we need to move on to our next role, which I assume will be our final role for this vlog. So we were on What a Ghostly Scene. Let's go see what comes up next. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Jigsaw. That is a book with like games or trials in it. Alright, let's go see what we can find. And since we rolled a double, what are we pairing it with? 8. Highest rated. Here's to a story I did not think I would be reading. I have Ariadne by Jennifer Saint, because this one is the story of Ariadne. It is the story of Theseus and the Minotaur, but from the female perspective, from Ariadne's perspective. And of course, we have the Labyrinth of the Minotaur, which is kind of a game / trial. So I'm gonna be reading Ariadne, which is again definitely not what I had in mind. But alas, here we are. Alrighty gang, so I've just come in from having filmed another video and I thought I would do a final check-in because I have read Ariadne, which I think is going to be my last Spookoplathon book because now I'm reading Dr. Greta Helsing and I am reading that series. So I know I'm going to read them anyway, so there's no point in me rolling just to try and squeeze them in and bend all the rules. Like, I'm going to read those. So this is the last read for Spookoplathon and it was so mid. Like, this whole last vlog, all of these last rolls, A, none of them were spooky, and B, they were all so mid. So this one is the story of Ariadne. So it's Theseus and the Minotaur, but told from Ariadne's perspective. And it was fine. It didn't bring anything new to the story. And I think the thing is that some of the retellings that I have read have really spoiled me for this whole new wave of feminist retellings. Because my personal favourite retellings that I have had have been the ones that are from women who in history were considered the villains. So I have Circe, I have the Witch's Heart, and I have Psyche. All three of these women were villains in the narrative, or at least partly deemed villains in the narrative. I think that they add a different dynamic and a different layer to the story than Ariadne can. And Ariadne was not my favorite character anyway. I wasn't the biggest fan of how she was portrayed, but I think that having it from her perspective, it was nice. Like, it was a nice story, and I'm glad that these feminist retellings are happening. They're just not hitting the same for me as I said, some of these other ones that are told from the perspective of villainous characters. I think that if you are a mythology fan, it's a decent read. It just depends on the level of fatigue that you have at this point of mythology retellings. So I have, between the mythology retelling fatigue and then this book just being really mid, it was fine. I gave it like a really low 3-star. So, to conclude, I read The Colour of Magic by Terry Pratchett, which I gave 2 stars, was the worst book of the vlog, and I used these books as palette cleansers, and I didn't need my palette cleansing, but it was fine. It wasn't a bad book. I'm still excited to read the rest of Discworld. It's not put me off. It was just meh. Like, it wasn't as good as The Colour of Magic, in my opinion. I then read Ceremony and Death by Nora Roberts, writing as J.D. Robb, and this was a romantic murder mystery in a futuristic setting. Again, it's fine. I use these also as palette cleansers. This one definitely lived up more to what I was hoping. So as much as this is arguably probably a better written book, it didn't live up to expectations. Well, this one, I know exactly what I'm signing up for, and it delivers every time. And it's just nice and comforting to be able to go back to these books and know what to expect and know what is going to come. Some are better than others, obviously, but they're fun and they're easy to get through and they're really digestible. They get a bit repetitive, so I can't read them too many times in a row. But, you know, every like 5 months or so, picking one of these up is real fun. And this one was no exception. I would recommend these as palette cleansers. Again, use them as palette cleansers. Did not need my palette cleansing. So 2 for 2 on that one. Very mid vlog. Gave this 3 stars. I've given, I think, all of them 3 stars. They're not going to get more than that. That's my expectation going in. It lived up to it. Well done. The next one I had was The Lamplighters by Emma Stonex, which is probably my favorite of the vlog. This one got like a 3.5. It's the highest rated of the 3 stars on my core pile. It's fine. It's a murder, well, it's not a murder mystery. It's a mystery. And it has kind of like alludes to a supernatural element as well. It was fun, it was enthralling, it was intriguing. The ending didn't work for me personally, but I have seen in reviews that it works really well for other people. So it was alright, you know, like it wasn't really 100% my thing, but it was good enough. And then the last one is Ariadne, which, as I said, it's fine. Like, it does what it says on the tin. It's a retelling of Theseus and the Minotaur through Ariadne's perspective. So if that's exactly what you want from it, then go ahead. It's exactly the same story. It doesn't really contribute anything new, in my opinion, to the story, hence why it gets 3 stars. So here's to a very mid vlog, a very vlog. And yeah, like, it was fine. Nothing that I hugely disliked. Nothing that I will remember this time next month. But that is all for me for today. So I'm really sorry that you have watched this vlog, in all honesty. I did consider not posting it at all. But so it goes, my vlogs have been going up on Wednesdays, but my mother-in-law's house got broken into on Wednesday. So we have been busy. So I'm very sorry that it's taken this long. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed the vlog nonetheless, and I will hopefully catch you in another one soon. Bye.